Hey guys, my name is Jae Wilson from Onyx Reporting, and in this webinar I wanted to share a report that one of my constituents over at Jet US, Steve Little, built. Basically their reporting requirement is they're sending out Christmas cards this year, and they need an easy way of printing out the labels. So Steve built a report where he can put in the filter criteria for a customer, and then when he runs the report, this report will print out or basically show all of the customers that meet the criteria in a format that's, acceptable and suitable for printing. What's really brilliant about this is, you might have 17 or you might have 100 customers. Each piece of paper can only print 30 labels, so it will dynamically create pages for you to print. I was, of course, intrigued by this, so the very first thing I had to do is take it apart and see how it works. So, how does this report work? Well, it starts by using an NL filter to identify all the customers who meet our criteria. If you'll recall, NL filter creates an array. So in this array, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, I want to make a list of customer numbers that meet my filter criteria. Turns out there are, in fact, I don't know how many customers meet that criteria. I need to know that because I need to know how many pages I'll need. We use an NL count, and we'll say, okay, count the customers or count the number of values in this array. And we find out, okay, there's 34. Well, if I have 34 customers, how many pages do I need if I can only print 30 to a page? So I use Excel magic. I'll say take the number 34, divide it by 30, and round up. And that tells me how many pages I need. From there, here in this yellow function right here, we have our NL Sheets replicator, where the magic happens, as it were. This function says, make a list in sheets of all of the integers between 1 and the number of pages that we need. This is a named range. And so it says, oh yeah, I'll make one sheet for each value, so I have sheet 1 and sheet 2. You can see that we're showing addresses and customers using a counter. So find the first customer in the array, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and so on. But what's challenging is when I get to page 2, how do I know which customer to start on? So we have some fancy math here. We say, okay, if I'm on page 2, let's actually hypothetically make this page 3. If I'm on page 3, take 3, subtract 1, that gives me 2. Multiply it by 30, that gives me 60. Add 1, 61. I start with the 61st customer. If I were on page 2, I would start with the 31st customer. And that's just how you do that little mathematic counter. Move this over here. Alright, then over here, basically it's just cell references plus 1. All the way down to the bottom ad nauseum till you get to the 30th customer. Now if you're new to a report and you say, oh man, I just don't know how to get started, how do I figure out what refers to what? It's really easy to go to the formulas tab and use trace precedence and trace dependence. I can use trace precedence that says, okay, find the cell references that I refer to come with this number. And I can use trace dependence to see which cells depend on me. Okay, lastly, to actually show the results, here we use what's called a field cache, or actually you could have done this with a record key. And this basically says, give me the nth, the second in this case, customer record, where the customer number is in this array. Remember the array we made with the NL filter. So again, we're finding the second customer in this array, and we're using a field cache. Once you have a field cache set up, you can use NF functions to retrieve the value. And here you can see this is just basic concatenation. Give me an NF to get the address, concatenate a space, then give me address 2. And then same thing, more concatenation. And that's the gist of how the report works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me at jae@onyxreporting.com. Thanks so much. Cheers.